Hi there, lovely individuals. Greetings, Peepo Coin channel. Is this bogus news, or is Ripple about to rock the cryptocurrency world? China further asserts that the door is open. If it works, are the markets prepared to pump? Hi there, lovely individuals. Greetings, Peepo Coin. Cheers to Friday. We will discuss the cryptocurrency markets. All I'm asking is that you smile at me so that I can radiate positive energy. Since likes are free, Smishity slams the like button. Let's examine how the cryptocurrency market is going, and leave an 8 in the comments if you want your portfolio to grow forever. Bitcoin is now trading at 96,733. As you can see, we're forming a new consolidation in this 96.0 level following the Bitcoin breakout. Bitcoin was able to make a splash, but the cryptocurrency market as a whole is waiting to see what will happen with today's job numbers. Examining what might occur, it's a non-payroll farm, not us non-farm payrolls, as you can see here. Additionally, around 8:30 IEMing this morning, the unemployment rate will be released. We'll be aware of the situation. After that, I believe there will be a slight release in the market, either to the upside or the downside. Therefore, it will be fascinating to see its current state. Right now, XRP is trading at $2.21. I take it that XRP is still following the trend, thus the trend line is seen here. The price of XRP remains below that. On the other hand, XRP remains inside the short-term rising trend as well. Here we are discussing the double signal. Thus, we have the 4-hour chart on the one hand. We are receiving a sell-off or pullback signal from the 1348 EMA. On the other hand, we are extremely close to a crossover from the bottom to the top on the daily chart. Thus, we're receiving conflicting signals. Right now, the market is feeling this way after a lot of the panic has passed. We were quite afraid at the time, but now we're more inclined toward greed. Can observe the return of crypto greed to 67. So large, jump even if, the price hasn't increased all that much from 53 to 67. Indeed, Bitcoin took off. Therefore, I believe you could say that we broke out there yesterday. Perhaps that is the cause. After that, you can observe that the stock market actually experienced a slight decline in fear. After being in neutral, it is now back in fear. I take it that the markets remain tense, and China says doors open when you have a headline like this. To engage in trade with us, and we continue to receive contradictory signals from China and the White House. Therefore, I believe that's also having an impact on a lot of what's happening. However, as you can see from the opposite side, this is a pretty good signal. The VIX, also known as the Volatility Index or the Fear Index, is first and foremost much lower. Correct. Yes, since the top, when it was nearly 60 degrees on April 7th, the day of liberation. And it's returning to the adolescent years. Anytime the VIX is in the teens, it indicates that the market is genuinely highly optimistic and is approaching the teens. We will therefore need to be aware of that, and that can be a sign of a rally taking place on the stock exchange. And once more, if you're in a position where even if things aren't looking great, money starts coming in again, you might see a run-up or even a short squeeze on the short side. The stock market could be driving the cryptocurrency market. As we have seen, a protracted squeeze is not typically observed. There is a short squeeze with people FOMOing into the assets, and there is a longer squeeze with people panicking out. Keep in mind that the excitement of something pumping is 4 times weaker than the anxiety or panic. People say things like, well, yeah, maybe, right, while they are experiencing FOMO. But in times of fear, people say things like, oh my God, and they act irrationally and do inappropriate things. And that's typically the case. Since of this, sell-offs are typically much stronger than pumps, since they are a cascading phenomenon that causes people to panic. It's a little difficult to see with all the drawings, isn't it? Then you'll see, like, where's that day where we were here, like this crazy day we had here? The volume is visible. Let me finish that as well. As you can see, we had this insane wick that day. The reason for this was a gradual sell-off that was eventually repurchased. As a result, people panic when liquidations occur. However, what took place? The day turned out to be green for us. So, irrational behaviors that occasionally result from fear, don't they? As that kind of wick to the upside, where it rises, goes to the top, and then falls back down, is very uncommon, unless there is some kind of bogus news, which we will discuss shortly. For example, there was a day when I remembered certain situations One instance occurred when a phony report claimed that BlackRock had applied for a Bitcoin exchange-traded fund. They did in the end, but first there was a rumor that appeared to be fake news until it was later proven to be true. They refuted it, and for that reason, we witnessed the price rise and then decline. And the day the SEC account was hacked, they said it had been approved, correct? After it emerged, it was cut and fell back as well. However, days when there is a pump followed by a sell-off and the wick are visible are uncommon. Typically, it occurs a day later, like in the case of our recent spike up and subsequent decline, but intraday is typically not the case for the cryptocurrency market. I now want to discuss, there has been a lot of discussion around acquisitions, Ripple's plans, and the future of XRP. So to begin, naturally, I also covered the Circle problem, XRP, USDC, and the possible outcomes there, as well as how Ripple was turned down. I would want to hear Brad discuss what they might be able to do in the first clip. After that, we'll discuss some of these long-brewing rumors. And even if it's a rumor, I have to discuss it. We'll talk about that in a moment since I know that many people will be spreading this. However, as usual, keep in mind that financial advice is not always reliable. Always conduct your own research before making an investment. Since I have no idea what your circumstances are or what the market will do on a daily basis, I will never advise you to buy, sell, or hold. Additionally, keep in mind that I will never message you on social media to ask you to send me money or join up for anything. They are con artists. Be extremely cautious out there, please. All right, this interview was conducted recently. Brad recently stated on Bloomberg's TV channel that Ripple has made an offer to purchase Circle for $5 billion, 0 cents. Naturally, this was the headline that was published by Bloomberg. As you are aware, we have been extremely fortunate to be able to expand the company naturally. To be honest, we're also more aggressive when considering acquisitions. The largest economy in the world, the United States, is now going to be able to support this business. Additionally, I believe that the industry continues to underestimate the change from headwinds to tailwinds. That will have a greater impact than most people realize. Lastly, the U.S. market has truly opened up. You seem to be arguing that acquisitions are now practically more important to you than an IPO. What would you then like to purchase? To what extent are you prepared to go? I won't mention names, but let's face it, Ripple is really a blockchain infrastructure business. She asked them how high they were willing to go and what they were attempting to purchase. We offer our technology to businesses, mostly financial institutions, and we'll look at other things that are blockchain infrastructure companies. According to him, blockchain infrastructure firms simply fit in. Make a circle, consider it. This would be a fantastic purchase for Ripple, especially with the Stablecoin Act on the horizon, if they manage to obtain that piece. We discussed this at the time the story was published, correct? With a market capitalization of around $60 billion, USDC is ranked 7th. This has the potential to revolutionize Ripple. Simply seizing possession of the essentially sole stablecoin authorized by the US and a well-known US firm, isn't that right? And so it is. It will be fascinating to watch how this develops when the government targets pro-US businesses with the upcoming Stablecoin Act and Genius Act. What's the word for acquisition already? They purchased. I believe I mispronounced the word because I was trying to seem elegant when the brain wasn't functioning properly. For a moment, they acquired. Additionally, they bought Open Road, which is a small amount, but it's good for business, isn't it? Since it makes room for the RWA. We don't have confirmation because it hasn't been accepted yet, so I'm not sure if this is real or not. However, this story keeps coming up, so I wanted to let you know that it exists,